coming inside of the show, we have VP of Product at Shopify, the one and only Monty Fazeli, goated name, by the way, comes to us via Toronto. He's been at Shopify since 2021, I believe, and has made his way enabling all of the things so that we can continue to build and make monies upon the internet. Oh, 2020, might be Monty. We must bring him inside of this show here and give him a warm Ecom Cowboy welcome. Monty Fazeli, get inside of this show.
Let's go.
Thanks so much, guys. That's the most energy anyone's ever introduced me to anything.
Monty, we try to do our best for the builders of ecom infrastructure on the interwebs everywhere, my friend.
We appreciate
Welcome to the show. We appreciate you making the time to join us, my man.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, let's start here. Monty. Shopify just dropped spring edition 2026 everywhere, which I'm so down on. But give us a little more elucidation on this. What does everywhere mean in 2026? Why is Agentic owning the conversation right now? Just kind of just build this out, paint the picture for us.
Yeah, think of all those like traditional channels, online stores, retail locations, social media, and then you start thinking about how today, when users are going all over the internet and they're looking for goods, it's no longer just those channels. You obviously have all the agentic channels, their favorite destinations to do search. You've got the Shop app. You've got all these emerging shopping sites and apps. And Shopify's job is that when a merchant comes to us, they can be exposed to all these fronts everywhere with as little effort as possible. And so what we've done is we've taken this collapse that's happening in being able to build software and with the introduction of our own universal commerce protocol. And we've said, how can we wrap that up in a way that when a merchant's on Shopify, they're exposed and their products are ready to be purchased anywhere. And there's like a set of capabilities that we've released that we'll touch on together. And what that brings is in this edition, us demonstrating how this can be done. So for example, if you scroll through the site, which is by the way, really slick and has all the parallax effects, and you've got all the funky experience you could go through that are really beautiful. And I find myself just hovering and circling around. In this one, what we've done is we have, I think we had 5 or more of these consumer apps that we built, right? It could be like you're planning a trip. It could be that you're looking at your horoscope, you're watching a video. And we wanted to demonstrate how shopping can be brought into all these surfaces using the Shopify Catalog, using UCP, and also being exposed on whatever agentic storefront there might be out there, just to get the entire developer community's imagination going, that they can now bring commerce anywhere thanks to the infrastructure we've built for the web.
Incredible, man.
Wow.
Incredible.
I mean, could you dive a little bit more into that where, you're now showing up inside of AI conversations? How does a merchant actually see and act on that if they're on Shopify?
Yeah, we have a new section that we announced, and I just cut a video and released it on all the social interwebs as well. We have this thing called Agentic Storefronts, or in the admin, we call it Agentic, which is the first time that the merchants are able to see in one place all the different AI channels that are allowing them to expose their products, have their redirects to store or PDP, even a native checkout. If that's what you're getting on Gemini or Copilot, ChatGPT is allowing you to be redirected to your storefront, and all the search intelligence that goes into how your data is exposed to these places so that then they're able to bring and redirect commerce or do the transaction directly on their interface. But you end up being the merchant in control. You're the one who processes that transaction through Shopify. You're the one who maintains that customer relationship and all the post-purchase interactions. So we give you search intelligence that you can have on the top AI queries that are happening by merchant category. You can see how your products are ranking against certain queries. We even have suggestions on how you could be improving your ranking using Sidekick to help you fix or add information such as model numbers or spec descriptions and such to all of your products, so that we help you elevate the quality of what you have exposed to the whole world using Shopify Catalog. And the last bit is this app we call Knowledge Base, which allows us to help you discover what kind of questions AI agents are asking that are more about your brand and they go beyond just what your products might be. For example, if they're asking about retail locations you might have, whether you accept bulk ordering, if there are customer service oriented questions, and those can fill in the gap of what we're able to otherwise glean together from the product data that you have in Shopify.
Wow.
Money.
Unbelievable.
Money.
Unbelievable.
I feel like this is we need to tip the cap. I feel like we need to tip the cap here. Like this is bananas. This is bananas, brother. And here's what I'll say. As a non-technical but very entrepreneurial, excited by novelty, all the new things developing. Where can I be available? Where can I sell my widgets and wares upon the interwebs? Like I want to be everywhere. I want to be, available in chat. Like I want people discovering me in Perplexity and all of the things, Microsoft Copilot, blah, blah, blah. I want to be everywhere. I want to be found. I want to be bought, all the things. But the stuff that you guys are building in order for that to be actually doable for me, I need that. I need a centralized, just give me one location and let's make sure the right information gets in there from the right feeds and all of this. Tell me, what's going on under the hood with you guys in order to make this happen? Make sure you're feeding the agents all of the right information, the right data, the right checkout logic. How are you guys actually doing this? What's it look like under the hood? I'm a beneficiary of what you guys are doing, but I don't know how you actually make this magic happen.
It's such a good question. And there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes to make this stuff possible. For example, we all know that commerce is fairly complicated. It's not just facilitate the transaction. There's taxes, there's discounting, there's bundling, pre-orders, fulfillment, real-time inventory. There's all sorts of validation logic, and then you get to all the payment concerns. So we have these configurations that enumerate in the permutations of hundreds of thousands of examples of it across millions of merchants. And of course, we're the company that spent over 20 years becoming the de facto representative platform for millions of merchants, billions of transactions, and trillions of dollars. So when you think of that kind of scale, there's a lot of lessons that we've learned, and those lessons come through on kind of 3 different layers that we've been building our product to make this stuff possible. I already touched on the Agentic Storefront side, knowledge base, and all that, so we'll put that aside. Let's talk about 2 other underpinning capabilities. So the first I've already alluded to, Shopify Catalogue. This is structured and enriched data that we've been able to collate across both individual merchants and the information they've given us in their products, in their variants, in their options, in their meta fields and meta objects, in their images, and being able to understand how products in certain categories and with certain attributes are listed across Shopify. Sometimes it's not manufacturer, it's reseller. So resellers that are selling the same product, how can we get the information to be consistent, discoverable, structured in a way that is really favorable to these new AI platforms that are the new era of search engines. So that rather than them scraping information and getting inaccuracy on product descriptions and options that lead to variance, inaccuracy on pricing or inventory availability, they can reach for the Shopify catalog and get real-time information that is correctly representing the merchant and all the variations and options out there. This is over 1 billion products. And what we found is that when traffic comes through reaching for the data directly from Shopify, it's converting in our data 2 times better than the traffic that's just getting that stale, incomplete, or scraped data from the web. So that's pretty amazing. So the other part of it that I think is pretty famous at this point is this thing called the Universal Commerce Protocol, UCP for short. And we worked on inventing this with Google back late last year, announced it at NRF this year. And it's been on this gangbusters rise, becoming the industry standard since then. And the really neat thing is, if you think about if every single AI platform out there had to invent its own way to integrate with every merchant on all the platforms that they may run on, not just Shopify, that would be an absolute mess. So this is where standards come in. And of course, you want the people building your standards to be the ones who have enough experience that they understand how to represent and model the diversity of commerce in one place, which is precisely what we've done. And every merchant on Shopify is UCP enabled from the moment they join, meaning that any platform that reaches for UCP automatically works with a Shopify merchant. And what we've done with that is also take it further. UCP is not the only place we play. There are other web frameworks you might be familiar with. For example, MCP, or we've got WebMCP, which is a new way that allows you to browse and act with websites inside the browser. There's also this other one called the Agentic Payments Protocol, or AP2, that Google originally invented. We're early adopters of that. We're contributors to all of these, so that the full stack of protocols required to go from everything from basic discovery in an AI chat all the way through to fully autonomous purchasing are all being handled by Shopify and correctly empowering all the merchants on our platform.
I mean, Chris, that's just bananas. That's just banana sandwich. That's wild.
I think our friends over at Shopify have been cooking, is what it sounds like. They've been cooking.
They've been
we
cooking
cook so you can feast. Yeah, think of it that way.
Let's go. That's a great bar. We cook so you can feast.
Incredible.
Let's go.
Incredible.
Could you just dive a little bit, if you got a little bit of time, what is the data telling you so far about all of this AI-driven commerce that you're building out? Like, can you give us some data points on all of this?
Yeah, I still consider it early days because the amount of traffic that's flowing through here is growing like gangbusters. But then when you consider the totality of traffic, it's still the smaller slice of the pie, and we're growing. Really interesting facts that we've seen is if you compare Q1 over Q1, and I like to finish quarters to have like really strong stats that we've vetted, we saw an 8x year-over-year growth in AI-driven traffic to Shopify by referrer. Whoa. When you take a look at orders coming from AI-powered searches, the same Q1 over Q1 grew by 13x. So as you take a look at just how fast the adoption curve is hockey sticking here, it's pretty amazing. We are also finding that new buyers, so buyers who've never been within the Shopify network before, but are now just entering the Shopify network, so they may be younger or they may be newly in a position to be able to do this kind of purchasing, they're showing up at 2 times as many orders are coming from originating on an AI channel versus other channels. We are getting some really strong indications of AI condensing the purchasing journey as well. We're seeing that the buyers who show up on storefronts are far further along in their purchasing intent funnel. Yes. So they have higher intent. So in our data, the early data shows it's roughly 20% stronger than organic search. Yes. We're also seeing that the conversion ends up being about 50% higher. Now, let's take that with a grain of salt because it is not even in all segments and all industries. And we do see that AI shopping tends towards more technically oriented comparisons of information. Think about it as I'm buying maybe some new boots for skiing, or I'm looking at maybe seasonally, I'm looking to buy, some new toys for the cottage that might be a boat, expensive purchase. I have to do a lot of research. I'm buying car parts or parts for that boat, more technical. We're finding an incredible increase in the amount of research that's being done on anything technical. And thus, by the time you get to the decision to purchase, you're far further along, far more likely to follow through. And this is also connecting with another interesting stat that we find, which is that AI referred sessions are spending roughly 14% more than those that are not. So altogether, this is really pushing in interesting directions. I'll share 2 anecdotes with you. We have a merchant named Omnilux. They're in the LED light therapy industry out of the US. Yep. And since mid-May, this channel has been now driving 3% of their total revenue and growing fast. Ooh, so from nothing to 3%, growing fast. And they're seeing that the how did you hear about us has now climbed from 2% to 10% compared to the same month last year. So 5xing how many people are saying we came to you because of one of these AI channels. And they are definitely taking advantage of Agentic Storefronts and getting help from Shopify Sidekick in order to be able to optimize their product metadata so that they're better positioned when we syndicate. Another great example is this female-founded jewelry brand in Canada named Olive & Piper. And what they found is that ChatGPT attributed US sales have grown nearly 90% from April to May. So there's definitely this inflection point. Again, the absolute numbers may be smaller, but this is just the beginning.
Golly, man. I mean,
bananas data.
Let's just summarize here. And Monty, no salt for me. I take it with no salt. I take it with no salt for me. I take it straight. I take it straight as is. more people coming. Hockey stick.
Yeah.
The amount of people is hockey sticking up, converting better, higher intent. We're flattening the funnel. Come on. That's speaking my language.
Yes.
Okay. And they're spending more when they come. It's like, my Lord, this is
That's
like
incredible.
a gold mine. This is
I'll
a gold
leave you with one other really fascinating thing we've seen that I think matters to everyone who listens to you and all the merchants out there, especially the new entrepreneurs, the ones that are getting going and they're not yet as big and bold as the brands that we may all be touting. Niche products are finding the right customers, and merchants who couldn't outspend their bigger competitors are now having new avenues. The models are demonstrating an excellent ability to reach for the more niche or esoteric product, or where micro consensus in little pockets and little venues in Reddit or Quora or other places that in the days of search engines that had a lot of backlinks and page rank, you don't need that as much anymore when you're in the large LLM embedding spaces in how these things are pre-trained, post-trained, how they use tool calls to come to things like Shopify Catalog. So there's a lot of hope and a lot to be excited about for the smaller merchant, which is our world every day, all day. Empower more entrepreneurs to exist in the world.
Come on.
Go. Arming the
Fazeli,
rebels. Let's go.
VP of product at Shopify, building the literal future of commerce in all ways, always, everywhere, and in every way. Man, we appreciate all the work you and the team have done, and we look forward to taking this thing up into the moon as you guys continue to build. Man, appreciate you coming.
Serving everyone. Thanks so much for having me.
Look forward to having you back, man. Thank you, brother. Wow.